before we do anything in life, before we do any significance, any important thing in life, including writing your book, we need to clarify one thing, and it's the why. Why is it that I'm going to do that? And this is crucial for so many reasons. Okay? If you don't know the why, you will probably make it wrong. And that happens so much in writing a book. People don't really know why they write a book, so they say, well, it would be nice to share this information, or it would be nice for me to structure myself. And that's what they get. They get a kind of a list with all the information that nobody wants, or nobody cares, or it doesn't help their business. I mean, tons and tons of I mentioned that before, but probably 90 to 95% of the best-selling non-fiction authors are a one-trick pony. And I'm talking about international, I'm not talking here. I'm talking international, people that sold millions of books. As soon as the shelf life is over, and every book has a shelf life. You know, at one point, it takes a couple of months or a couple of years, but the book is kind of dying, and that's it. So they might have generated millions of dollars, and you might think, wow, that would be cool to do. But if you could generate millions of dollars from a book, you could generate tens of millions and influence many more people in what comes after the book. So we really need to know what's the purpose with the book. If all you need is to create a diary, then you don't need to. You can do the course, but you don't need the rest of it. You can just do 2 days, and that's enough. So the why you want to write a book is very, very important. So I'm going to ask you now, and I know that some of you did this exercise with me if you did the information day for that, but it's important to do it again, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth in that. So I want to ask you to take 2 minutes in a moment, 2 minutes, and write down why you want to write a book. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit more challenging for you, and I'm not going to ask you why you want to write a book, but why you must write a book, why this is your moral or whatever it is, obligation, responsibility, whatever you want to call it. Why do you must write a book?
I want to write my book because I want to teach teachers and students how to...
All right. Again, this is going too specific. I want to teach. Perfect.
Sorry.
Okay, so then it gives me just to write teach. That's perfect. Yes. Next. Yep.
To claim my status as an expert.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put in here status as an expert.
I want to build a list of interested people.
Absolutely. Build a list. Build a list. Build a list. Yes. Who else? Tony? No.
I want to generate passive income.
Passive income. We'll put it here. I'm going to put PI. Is that okay? Passive income? Whenever I use PI, that's passive income. Yes?
I must write a book to share and to sparkle together.
Okay, share. Let's keep it to one reason per person. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, becoming an author.
Yeah?
No, authority.
Authority,
yes,
absolutely.
Authority.
Authority. Let's put it here. Authority.
To help make a better world by making other people more successful.
All right. Let's put better world in here. What? Yep.
Structure my information.
Absolutely. Let's structure. Yes. Yep.
Because it's fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's fun. By the way, you like writing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. How many of you don't like writing? And I can put 2 hands and a leg, okay? If you come to the whole process from I don't like it, I have to do it, you're not going to have a lot of fun. If you will be open a little bit to the system that we're teaching you, most of you will learn how to have fun. I'm not really enjoying writing, but I write a lot. But with the process, if you know how to do it, it becomes a lot more fun. One of the reasons why we don't have fun, or we think it's boring, or we think that we don't like it, is because we don't know how to do that, right? Many of us, when we don't know how to do something, it becomes a hustle or a duty, but when you know how to do it, you can learn how to enjoy that. So thank you for that. And yeah.
To acknowledge myself in what I know.
Okay, acknowledge, absolutely. Acknowledge yourself. Yes, more. Yeah.
To help the readers.
Help, absolutely. Let's put it here. Help.
Legacy.
Legacy, absolutely. A very important one. Legacy. You know what a legacy is? Legacy means that if today, when you go out and the bus hits you, there is something behind you. There's something behind you. You left something in the world. And by the way, the bus will hit all of us at one point or another. And you don't know when. That's one of the musts, why you must do it now. Yes, Arnold?
Turn fear into excitement.
I'll put it a little bit more in words of human beings. So overcome fears. No, it's okay, but I want to make it very, very clear for everybody. Overcoming fears, absolutely. Anything else? Yes?
Grow my business.
Grow your business, absolutely. Grow business. I'm surprised that it arrives only now. Yes?
To fill in the gaps of my knowledge.
Of your knowledge. Yeah, Leon. I'm just going to put it as Leon, absolutely. Yeah, that's the last one? Okay.
No, this one.
Yeah.
To have a front-end product.
Yeah, front-end, absolutely. How many of you know what a front-end product is? How many of you never heard that? Okay, that's Master Entrepreneur material. Okay, Master Entrepreneur says what we're teaching as a business system is that you always need to make a front-end, that it's easy for people to get to know you, to know who you are, what you do, with very little risk, preferably with very little cost. So, in a way, what Open Series does with the Business Bootcamp. That's a front-end. Yeah, we bring a lot of people. They don't have to commit to too much, but then if they like it, then they move to the real, where we really make money, which is the back end. So having a front-end, that's an addition. So that's the last one. Can we have the mic for the last one? Front-end.
More media attention.
Absolutely. Just one thing I forgot. I call it the 4Gs. Okay, the 4Gs. So there are 4G things here. So this is money which I call it financial growth. Okay, this allows you to grow financially. And you wrote passive income. There are more ways. There are also other ways to do that, but it's many times passive income. One thing about a book is that usually you're not going to make a lot of money from it. Okay? When we're talking about passive income, how do we usually make money from books? What is it called? Royalties. Okay? You all heard the word royalties? Royalties is basically the percentage of the retail price of the book that the author gets. That's usually how it works. So you give a book to the publisher put it in the shops, everybody needs to earn something, and the author gets their cut, which is called the royalties, and it's always a percentage of the retail price of the book, the price in the shop. Okay? So that's when we're talking about a normal book that goes into the shop. So if this book goes through a publisher and goes to the shops, and let's say that it's being sold for 20 euros in the shop, which is kind of a reasonable price, what's the percentage? Anybody knows what the percentage of royalties that the author gets? 6%, 10%, 5, 8, 15? All right. In principle, in average, you don't need to negotiate too much on that. You'll get 10%. Okay? The principle is 10%. This is an easy. It's all over the world. You can get more, you can get less, but in principle, 10% is the average. So from a book of 20 euros, you will get 2 euros. So as you can see, this is passive because it goes in the shops. You don't have to do anything about it after you wrote the book. But it's not going to make you a millionaire unless you sell a lot of books. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to sell millions of books. And if you're doing something in Holland and Dutch, which is non-fiction, you're not going to sell millions of books. Okay? Sonia Bakker wrote a book which is non-fiction, if you want, and she sold a lot, but I don't think she got to these millions, right? So I don't know how many she sold, but she probably sold a couple of 100,000. I know that Roy is selling very well, but still those are in the tens of thousands. Very, very few books in Holland gets to 100,000 books, very. So you're not going to make a fortune. I'm not belittling, 100,000 or 200,000 euros, but that's not going to make you a fortune, okay? But there's more ways to do that. And one of the questions we're going to ask is about the target audience. How many people can buy this book or are interested in this book? And if that number is not high enough, then you shouldn't write a book. Why would you write a book to only 1,000 to 2,000 people that can read it? Does that make sense? So I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, I had this student, and he was a business-to-business consultant. He was a ZZPayer, business-to-business consultant, and he came up with an idea. But he came to me in the break and he said, listen, this question about target audience, I only have very small numbers. You said that we need to have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands potential readers. I don't have that. I said, how many you have? And he says, 1,100. And I says, how can you be so precise? And he says, because there are only 1,100 companies in the Benelux that for them it's relevant. He was working with companies that had over 100 cars, I think, in their fleet, and he was helping them something with that. Okay, so there were, he knows the market for 25 years, 1,100 companies, that's it. So he knew that, and I said, don't write a book. I said, forget about it, it's not worth it. Do something else or forget about the course, it's not for you. He insisted, and he kept on coming for me for the whole first day. He kept on saying, listen, these people need this information, I want to give this information, this is the only thing I have. I cannot teach them how to cook, and I cannot teach them how to fix bicycle, that's what I know, and I want to write a book. So he was nagging on that, and he was very persistent, so I started to work with him. And at the end, to cut a long story short, he wrote the book, but he didn't publish the book. So he wrote the same 200 pages that you will write and that I wrote and everything, but instead of publishing it in what we call an A5 format, this is an A5, right? Okay, the size, it's A5. This is a normal format for a book. He, instead of doing that with hardcover or softcover, but something like that, what he did is he took the same information, this is very, very important, same information that he wrote as if it was for a book, but instead he printed it on A4 paper, just A4 paper like you have there. He printed it, and he just photocopied those, so one-sided, photocopied all the 200 pages, put them in a folder in a map, and put a front page which was pretty much Xerox. you know, photocopied. And he didn't call it a book. He changed the name of it and he called it a manual. Okay, so it was a manual that was teaching companies like that how to save 100,000 euros a year on their costs for running the fleet of cars. And I don't know what it was, insurance or maintenance, whatever it is. But each one, he just taught them how to save 100,000. And what he put the price tag on that, he put on it 1,000 euros. That was 8 years ago, I think. 1,000 euros per book. Because it's not a book anymore, it's a manual. Same information. You cannot put on a book like that 1,000 euro price. You just can't. But as soon as it's a manual, he put 1,000 euros. We talked to him a year later. Within a year, he sold 900 books. To those 1,100 companies, 900. You do the math. It's not difficult. 900 times 1,000. Anybody's interested? Yes. Okay. All right, the next quadrant. Become an expert, building a list, authority, building up an authority position, growing your business, creating a front end, getting media attention. What kind of growth is this? Yeah, it's the business or I would call it professional. Okay, it's very recently, the last 3 or 4 years that we teach that only to business owners. We used to teach that for professionals for many years. You can be an employee and still write a book, and you will make your professional life very, 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 very lucrative. Anybody that is still an employee, just for my information? And you're planning to write a book in your area of expertise that you're working there, right? No? Okay. You know? No? Yes? Okay. I'll talk about employees for about 3 minutes somewhere to show you how you can do it, and you can get the companies to pay you for the course easily. Plus a month's paid vacation to write your book, if you just ask the right way. Okay? But that's only if you write something that can benefit them. If you're writing something totally different, they're not going to be interested. So make sure that you pay attention. I'm not sure where it is, but it's going to happen. Anyway, so this is about professional growth. So let me share with you a few stories about that and show you how you can do that. And maybe some things that I didn't mention. Okay, that I didn't mention. First of all, as a professional, as a business owner, the one big benefit that you have when you write a book, one of the reasons why you should write a book, is because you'll never, ever have to explain what you do again. Ever. One of the struggles that many of you have is that you go in a networking event or you're sending a proposal or people are coming to you and saying, what can you do for me? And you have difficulty to explain that in a very short time. You know, you have not just a very difficult to explain it in a short time, it's also to differentiate yourself and position yourself in that very short time so somebody will pay attention. How many of you recognize that? Okay, I know my audience, so I know that this is an issue for a lot of people. This problem is over the moment you have a book. Over, forever. Because the shortest way to introduce yourself and the most powerful way to introduce yourself is with a book. Was that a sigh of relief or that's... Okay, so let me teach you right now how to do that. How many of you already have a book? A professional book published? Let me just count if you don't mind. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Yeah? 5. Okay, great. So you can start using it tomorrow. You don't have to wait, a month or two until you have a book, but you can start using it tomorrow. What you're doing is when you're going in a networking event or conferences or whatever it is, and you introduce yourself to somebody and say, so what do you do? Say, listen, I can spend right now 15 minutes and tell you what I do, but it takes your time, it takes my time. We have a lot of other people. How we do it simply? Here, this is my book. Everything that I am is in this book. So if you will take this book and you just go over it, you don't even have to read all of it, but just go and read the important chapters for you. You will know everything about me. If you like it, then we can do business. If not, then it's no problem. Here's my gift to you. What you do is you call them a week later. Okay, you call them a week later. The only thing you shouldn't do, remember that and write it down for yourself, never, ever, ever ask them if they read the book. You know why? Because they didn't. And if you're asking them, you're starting the conversation from either a no or they have to lie to you and feel bad about that. Not morally bad, but because they're just afraid that you're going to ask them what you thought about chapter 6. So don't ask them if they read the book because they didn't, but they read the important page. That I can promise you. They read the important page. This is the important page. Be aware. You're going to spend a month writing this and 2 months writing this. Okay? Trust me. Okay? This is the most important page. This is your brochure. This is your call to action. This is everything. And they need a picture. So those of you that don't like your picture, get a good picture. You have to have a picture, okay, so they can connect that. When you have these 2 elements and a third element, which we'll talk later about the publisher, that gives you all the authority, all the expert position you need. And from my experience and from the experience of my students that actually did that, this is first of all, a door opener like nothing else, but the second, it's a deal closer. When you call them and tell them, hey, remember I wrote the book, and how about we have a meeting, and I'll show you how I can translate those important principles that you probably read into your, that's how you do it, right? Into your business or into your whatever it is. For business to business, I cannot think of something that is better and easier than that. Okay, and it took you pretty much to introduce yourself 30 seconds. And you gave them a gift. They go home with something. Everybody else gives them a business card. What do they do with the business card? Nothing. This they're not going to throw. Okay, they're not going to throw. Maybe they're not going to read it, but they're going to take a look at that. Maybe they're going to check your website or whatever. It's a door opener like no other, and it closes the deal every time. I want to mention it very, very quickly because it's important. Most people don't know that. First of all, you do learn from writing a book. You do learn. The structure is crucial. That's why we like so much to give you the master presenter after that, because most of you know so much that you have no structure anymore. You don't know what needs to come first, what needs to come second, what's the right order for people to listen to that, what will bring them value in the right ways. As soon as you put a book, you have to think about that. As soon as you have a book, especially the way we teach you, you will need to figure out the structure. That's the blueprint. You need to know the structure, what comes first, what comes second, what's important, what's not important. In a book, you cannot repeat things like you do in other places. In a presentation, I can say something, and then I look at you, and you look like you have no clue what I'm talking about. I can say it a different way. I can repeat it. I can come back to it. I can get feedback. In a book, you can't. It needs to be structured well from the beginning. This is very, very valuable to do for that. I know that my trainings became way better as soon as I start writing books about them. It's, again, I mentioned about the fun. When you know what you're doing, it's a lot more fun, but even if it's not going to be fun, it's not going to be long, which is good. Okay. Acknowledge yourself, legacy, like I think Haub mentioned that. I think it's very, very valuable. This is, in my opinion, should be one of the main reasons that you do anything that you're doing today. To package it. It can be this way, it can be videos, I don't care. But you do not know when is the day that is your last day. And most of you, if not all of you, have so much value here that if you die tomorrow, the world is missing something. And I hope you know that. I really hope you know that. And this is something we work with you from the Business Bootcamp. You have value to give to the world. And by keeping it in your head only, and there is no record of it anywhere else, it's a shame. We are recording everything, and we are using very little for that. Every training is being recorded, but we are not using it for anything. And kind of the title for that, or the cupboard where everything is in case Nisande dies. Okay, which is not a nice thing to maybe to think about it, but it's kind of true. Now it's both for the world, but it's also for the company. We have quite a big company, and I have family and everything. If I'm not doing that anymore, we have a problem. So everything is for that. But I think you need to think about it also. What happens if you can't do that anymore, whatever you do? It doesn't have to be that you die. Maybe you're getting sick. Maybe you're getting, I don't know, you lose your voice. Maybe you need to take a year off because you need to take care of your family or kids or parents or whatever it is. By having a book, it's a legacy, something that you can pass along. Imagine also that you put your wisdom in a book, and 100 years from now, your grandkids are asking, so what his granddad was like? And they can actually pull out a book and say, this is what he was or she was. It's something that we usually don't think about it until it's too late. Okay, you get to 60 and you start thinking about it, and then why? Okay, some people don't get to 60. And then there is the last category here, and if this is financial growth, that's the G. If this is professional growth, this is personal growth, this is the G here is about giving. We call it in the Business Bootcamp, we call it contribution. Here I call it giving. And it's all about helping other people, teaching other people, sharing your knowledge, service other people, creating a better world. And I'm going to give you one little example, which some of you might have heard it before, and then we're moving into how we do that. I think it was about 4 months or something like that, I can't remember, 3-4 months after I published the Leif Flecker book in Holland, and we got an email in the office. I think at that time we were 5 people in the office, so that was Vered, Rani, and maybe 2 more, so we were small. And we got an email in the office from somebody that it says, listen, I read your book, I got your book, he didn't buy it, I got your book, I read the book, I did all the exercises, all the visualizations, and I want to share with you what happened to me. For many years, I think it was 14 years, I was a very, very heavy drug user, heavy drugs, addict. He was a heroin addict. And he said, and I somehow got your book, I read it, I followed all the exercise for 6 weeks and everything, and now I'm a few months after, and I'm totally clean from the drugs, I started my own business, you saved my life. That's how he finished that, you saved my life. And we were sitting in the office, we were all reading it together, and we were crying. There was tears for everyone. But it took me a few minutes, and I started to think, that's quite a shitty situation. First of all, it wasn't our target audience, absolutely. Not then, not today. I mean, this is not our target audience to help junkies, to get out of it. Our actually target audience is people that are successful, and we just want to show them that they can transfer that success tomorrow in their life and then multiply and help more people. But he got that, and I started to think, I took a year break from this book because of my little fragile ego, that thought that maybe I'm not good enough and what people will think about me. And in that year, how many people I could help, but because of my fragile ego and because thinking of maybe I'm not good enough, how many people I didn't help. And I made a vow to myself that I will never do that again. I will never put myself so small again that because of that other people will suffer. And I think this is something for you to think. If you didn't get the book out so far, it doesn't matter what the story is. After Sunday, you won't have any more stories. It's not something that you cannot do. It's not something that you don't know how to do. It's not something that takes too much time of your time. Nothing. So there will be no more excuses. And what I want you still to think, what can you give to the world? And the world deserves you, this way or another. You, every one of you, I don't know all of you, but I know many of you, you have something to give to the world. And it might be that other people give it too. It doesn't matter. You might reach other people with a different story or with a different angle, and that will make a difference in them. And it can be a difference in people's lives or health or relationships or how they grow their kids. It can be in their business or in their relationship or in the way that they take care of their employees. I don't care. You have something to give, and this is not the only thing, but it should be one of the things that you should consider when you're wondering, shall I write a book or not, or shall I really do what I need to do, etc. Does that make sense? This list, you should have it. I'm going to try to make the Write Your Book looks very easy. That's my job. My job is that you go on Sunday and say, that's so easy, I'm going to do it like this. But to be honest and transparent, many of you will get to a point that you won't know what to do, or you won't be sure, or it will look too difficult, or you will read it and you won't feel that it's the best thing that you ever created. Whatever it is, stuff might come. If you come to any doubts, come back to this list and know this is why I'm doing it. And it will bring you back into the process. That's why we're doing it. Okay? The end goal. Why are we doing it? Does that make sense?